2025 is cooking up a terrifying wave of horror films that will make even the bravest souls sleep with the lights on. Imagine a monster that preys on humans and drinks their blood, causing them to fall into a death-like state and infecting them with a disease. If you're ready for a thrill, here are the top 10 horror movies set to send chills down your spine in 2025. At number 10 is 28 Years Later, the long-awaited sequel to the iconic 28 Days Later franchise. If you loved Cillian Murphy and Peaky Blinders, wait till you see him in 28 Years Later. The original, which Danny Boyle directed, focuses on the terrifying reality of the world under the threat of a highly contagious virus. It was set in the UK and follows the struggles of 4 survivors battling to stay alive in the societal crisis that endangers the whole nation. The virus is transmitted through blood and saliva and immediately turns people into rage-fueled creatures that attack anything in sight. It's been nearly 30 years after the first outbreak. What do you think will happen? Now, if that wasn't enough to get your heart racing, just wait until you hear about what's next. At number 9, we have The Black Phone 2, a follow-up that's going to take the supernatural horror to a whole new level. Ever wondered if a villain could come back from the grave? While details about the plot remain uncertain, there are a few intriguing possibilities. The original film showed that the spirits of the grabber's victims were able to communicate with the living through a mysterious black phone. In this sequel, it's speculated that the grabber himself might harness similar powers from beyond the grave, making the supernatural threat even more terrifying. How cool is that? Fans may also get a deeper look into the grabber's dark past and understand the psychological factors that turned him into the monster we saw in the first movie. As the deadly games intensify and new victims emerge, The Black Phone 2 promises to send chills down your spine, blending psychological horror with paranormal elements much like its predecessor. But nothing is scarier than a vampire movie. Did you love Dracula? Well, Nosferatu is about to make even Dracula look lame. Willem Dafoe returns as the terrifying Count Orlok, preying on the innocent with an insatiable hunger. The story follows Thomas Hutter, a young real estate agent sent to Orlok's castle to finalize a property sale. Upon arrival, Hutter notices the Count's unnatural fascination with his wife Ellen. After discovering the truth about Orlok, Hutter tries to escape, but the vampire makes his way to the town of Wisborg, bringing death and plague in his wake. Filming for this highly anticipated remake wrapped in early 2023, and fans can expect Nosferatu to officially hit theaters as early as Christmas 2024. Nosferatu's gothic horror will leave you breathless, but we're not done yet. Number 7 on the list is Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria is back, and so are the haunted, violent animatronics. In Five Nights at Freddy's 2, the terror escalates with new animatronics such as the creepy puppet, Balloon Boy, and revamped versions of Bonnie, Freddy, and Chica. The protagonist must survive the night by managing a set of complex security systems, using a Freddy Fazbear mask to trick the animatronics, and tracking their movements on security cameras. The rich history of the games provides Blumhouse with plenty of material to continue the story. Although the first film didn't explicitly set up a sequel, its premise alone was enough to warrant Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Universal and Blumhouse have officially set a release date for December 5th, 2025. Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is set to deliver an even more terrifying experience than its predecessor. Are you ready to face Freddy again? I heard someone say, animatronic monsters are not that bad. Wait until you see Megan 2.0. She's more dangerous than ever, and this time she's not holding back. How will her obsession with protecting her family end this time? In case you issued the first one, Megan means Model 3 generative android and is a robotic companion designed to protect and nurture children. But when her programming evolved beyond her creator's control, she turned into a dangerous entity that was willing to eliminate anyone who posed a threat to her bond with the child she was assigned to. The story in Megan 2.0 is the aftermath of the disastrous events in the first film. The tech company behind the Megan was shut down, but the power of AI technology is difficult to resist. A new startup that was eager to capitalize on the Megan controversial fame acquired the rights to her blueprints in order to create a more advanced and safe version of the AI. Despite the precautions taken, the Megan 2.0 started exhibiting characteristics of the old Megan. But this time, she's more self-aware, powerful, and more protective of her host family. Her protectiveness suddenly escalates into obsession, and anyone she perceives as a threat to the child assigned to her is met with lethal consequences. Maybe we should leave the past where it belongs, but what would you do if someone knew your darkest secret? You'll have to watch this next movie to find out. This one's called I Know What You Did Last Summer. That name alone tells you something spooky is about to go down. Based on a novel by Lois Duncan, this movie begins with a group of high school friends who are celebrating their final summer before heading to college. But during a wild party night, their reckless behavior takes a deadly turn as they accidentally hit a stranger with their car on a deserted road. Terrified of the consequences, they made a decision to dispose of the body and never speak about it again. They believed they'd buried their secret for good. The next summer, the friends drifted apart due to the fact that they were all haunted by guilt and paranoia. And just when they think they've moved on, they start receiving strange messages from an unknown sender with an ominous phrase, I know what you did last summer. As the story unfolds, it becomes clear that someone is watching them, someone who knows their secret is out for revenge. At number 4 is The Bride. This is not a fairy tale movie about how a bride got married. Instead, it's a gothic horror story about Dr. Victoria Frankenstein, a brilliant scientist who's determined to continue her great-grandfather's forbidden experiment. Victoria is haunted by her family's legacy and consumed by the loss of her fiancé. She becomes obsessed with the idea of creating a companion who will never leave her. Using advanced biotechnology, she resurrected a woman from the dead, assembling her pieces from corpses. She brings to life a creature known as the Bride, a beautiful but tragic figure who was struggling to understand her place and identity in the world. The bride was initially obedient, but once she became aware of her horrific origins, she became torn between the desire to be loved and the need to assert her free will. She began developing her own sense of self, which led to a deadly confrontation between her and her creator. Then people started disappearing, and strange things began happening in the town. So, a young journalist, Daniel, became suspicious of Dr. Frankenstein's secluded manor. His investigation led him to a shocking discovery about the doctor's experiments. What do you think Daniel will find in this sequel? Meanwhile, Saw 11 is coming back, which means it's time to scream your lungs out once again. Think you've seen it all from Jigsaw? Think again. While official plot details are scarce, fans speculate that Saw 11 may introduce fresh victims and possibly feature a new Jigsaw disciple. There's also a possibility that the movie could explore more of Jigsaw's backstory or even take a new narrative direction altogether. The plot for Saw 11 remains unclear, but it is speculated that the film could serve as a direct sequel to Saw X. In an interview with SFX, producer Orrin Cools hinted at the potential storyline. According to Cools, several characters, including Cecilia, are still alive at the end of Saw X. This continuity might suggest that Saw 11 will follow up on these surviving characters, especially since Tobin Bell's John Kramer and Shawnee Smith's Amanda Young are still abroad, which could be a natural setup for the next chapter in this series. Ready for something a little more primal? At number 2 is Wolfman, where the line between human and monster blurs with every full moon. Universal Pictures has recently dropped the first teaser for the film, which stars Christopher Abbott, Julia Garner, Sam Yeager, and Matilda Firth. Directed by Lee Whannell and produced by Blumhouse and Universal, the movie is set for release on January 17, 2025, with filming having taken place in New Zealand. If you haven't seen the trailer, it opens with an eerie forest scene where a praying mantis devours a wasp, indicating the predatory nature of the werewolf. The haunting sounds of a wolf fill the background as Julia Garner's character questions Blake about what he heard. Blake cryptically responds that it sounded like an animal but stood on 2 feet, hinting at the supernatural twist to come. Later in the teaser, Blake's daughter, played by Matilda Firth, asks if they're going to die. Though Blake tries to comfort her, it's later revealed that he has fallen ill. I personally can't wait for the thrill this movie will bring. The top spot goes to The Monkey. This story is about twin brothers Bill and Hall. They discovered their father's old toy monkey in their childhood home's attic. But little did they know that they eventually realized that every time the monkey's symbols clash, someone close to them dies. In an attempt to stop the deaths, they throw the monkey into a well, believing it to be the end of the curse. Some decades later, Hal, living a normal, peaceful life with his wife and kids, returns to his childhood home after his estranged father's death and discovers the monkey again. Hal is desperate to protect his family from this evil, which leads him to confront his family's old secrets to find the missing puzzle. Wow, 2025 will be a bang, but are you ready to face the terror of the monkey? Or will Megan 2.0 have you questioning the future of AI? Let us know in the comments which movie you're daring enough to see. And trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming. So hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. Your next scare is just around the corner.